Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Vermont is a four-season destination, and we all know that each season is unique. Although we may not think about it, Lake Champlain also experiences four seasons. For our first segment today, we're getting an interesting science lesson that looks at what happens in the lake season to season.
Lake Champlain is an extraordinary natural resource nestled between New York, Vermont, and Quebec. But the lake and its tributaries are being negatively affected by human activities on the land. Lake Champlain Sea Grant works to develop and share science-based information to improve the environment and economy of the Lake Champlain Basin.
Lakes are dynamic systems. Throughout the year, Lake Champlain experiences thermal stratification and lake turnover. What happens is occurring below the surface of the water in Lake Champlain from season to season. First, what is lake turnover and thermal stratification? Second, what impact do these events have on aquatic life?
In the same way we visualize shifts in the landscape, the same things are happening at the depths of Lake Champlain throughout the course of the year with the changing of the seasons.
Lake turnover is exactly what it sounds like. Water moves from the top of the water column to the bottom in a mixing event. What is happening in the lead up to these mixing events?
Thermal stratification is the process in which the lake becomes divided into layers based on water temperature and density. As the summer progresses, stratification becomes stronger and will create niche segments throughout the water column.
When the lake is stratified, there is going to be warmer water at the surface and colder water at the bottom of the lake. What you are seeing right now is a visualization of how the lake temperature shifts throughout the year based on physical effects in the atmosphere above, like temperature changes and winds. Lake Champlain turns over twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall.
The lake begins to cool in the early fall, taking cues from decreasing air temperatures. This cooling process shifts the density of the water, and denser water is heavier, sinking to the bottom of the water column. When it does this, it actually forces the warmer water to the surface.
This cooling process sparks one of the annual lake turnover events in Lake Champlain. What impact does this have on the aquatic organisms that live in Lake Champlain? Lake turnover is an important phenomenon because it allows for the redistribution of oxygen and nutrient-rich surface waters to the deeper waters of the lake.
In the fall, wind moves highly oxygenated surface water to the bottom of the water column. This is incredibly important because once the lake freezes over, it eliminates the opportunity for atmospheric oxygen to be mixed into the water column.
Why doesn't the lake continue to turn over throughout the winter as the temperatures decrease further?
In the winter, ice forms when the lake's surface temperature reaches 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Ice, as we know from ice floating in a glass of water, is lighter and less dense than the water itself. The ice acts as a barrier, preventing the lake from mixing. In addition, it also limits the lake's ability to exchange atmospheric oxygen.
As air temperatures rise in the spring and the ice thaws, the surface of the lake warms, pushing down the colder water, which is denser. This is the second mixing event.
Lake Champlain is a natural treasure. We all have a part to play in protecting it and the waters that drain to it, now and into the future. This video was produced by Lake Champlain Sea Grant, a partnership among the University of Vermont, SUNY Plattsburgh, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. To learn more about Lake Champlain Sea Grant and to see other videos in this series, please visit our website.
Our next segment involves lessons in agriculture and animal science. There's one high school in Vermont where students can get hands-on with dozens of animals and a county-wide business. Rebecca Gollin takes us to Swanton for a truly unique learning experience at Missisquoi Valley Union High School.
Feed them, and then after they have finished their grain, we'll turn them out, then you can clean the stalls. before I took this class, if you would have asked me, like, or made me think of a cow, I would have just thought of a black and white cow, and, you know, but now I've learned about, I mean, I knew there were other kinds, but now I've learned about, like, different ones.
Isaiah Luton is in his first year of animal science at Missisquoi Valley Union High School. While some schools in Vermont offer agricultural training as part of a vocational program, here at MVU, it's a regular class. But this class is anything but a regular classroom experience.
Oh, their responsibilities to keep track of their animal growth, to keep track, they do temperature checks. If their animal has a fever, they have to determine what they're going to give it for vaccination. They do that themselves. They do the injections.
My first year of animal science, I had goats, and we had a milking goat named Misty, and my responsibility was to milk her, make sure her stall was clean, grained, and had water and everything like that. And then my second year, it was goats and the swan.
The students work with a specific animal as their project and are responsible for part or all of the animal's care. That might be one of the 2 steers and several hogs they raise for meat each year. For those interested in other animals, their teacher, Jim Messier, does his best to find them in the community.
Yeah, maybe it's because I've been around for a while, but I kind of know a whole bunch of people. And quite often if I want something and I call somebody up, could you do this? Most of the time, somebody will. Find this picture. Oh, yeah.
Messier doesn't just know a bunch of people. In this small community, he's taught most of them.
Tell me a little bit about your teacher. He's been doing this for a while.
Yeah, Mr. Macy's been here a long time. He was actually my boss at the farm. Mr. Macy was his mechanics teacher when he was in high school.
Starting in Highgate and then moving to MVU when it opened in 1970, Messier has been teaching for over 50 years. Things have changed a bit since he started.
The students that we receive have changed a bit. When I first started, they were almost all farm kids, and now the majority of the students are non-farm kids.
Messier has been at it for so long, they even named the building after him. I can't help but notice that we are in the James Messier Agricultural Building.
Yeah, that's kind of a joke. I told Paul Gregoire, the director of Buildings and Grounds, I don't know if that's some kind of an omen or not, but that usually happens after somebody dies.
With the humble attitude of a farmer and a natural gift for teaching, Messier's influence on his students is clear.
He doesn't even have to be teaching you. He can just be doing something and he just naturally explains everything he's doing, you know what I mean?
He is remarkable. He has worked in every area of our agriculture program, whether it be in the mechanics program, whether it be in natural resources or logging, and now, of course, in animal science.
Messier taught mechanics in the school's agricultural program for 45 years, occasionally teaching a veterinary medicine or animal nutrition class. Several years ago, he switched gears and took over the animal science class. For some students, taking the class can be life-changing.
I was quite a troublemaker before I landed in the program, so it was just real hard for me to focus, and I actually had a one-on-one, and so I would come out here during my class. Before I was even in the program, I would come out, sit on a bag of shavings and put my work on another bag of shavings and sit here with my one-on-one and do my work or read to the cows or something like that.
Journey Luton started taking the class when she was in 10th grade and was paired with a dairy cow as her first project.
How much?
$6.17. I just fell in love with her, so last January I got a job at a dairy farm in East Franklin, and I've been there ever since, and that's where my Gemma comes from, my Holstein.
She enjoys working with dairy cows so much that she's planning to attend Vermont Tech next year for a program in herd management.
I'll be there for 2 years for their dairy program, and then my current bosses want me to return full-time and be their herd manager and part-time cow breeder.
Along with the experience of working with the animals, the students also run a business in the class, using their school mascot, the Thunderbird, as a brand name. They sell their eggs, beef, and pork to the community.
All of our pork and beef that are sold has the Thunderbird designation on it. We have our animals slaughtered at the slaughterhouse in Ferrisburg because it's USDA inspected.
Luton is in charge of the meat sales, and classmate Trinity Chivier heads the egg sales.
So we collect the eggs every morning, and Mr. Macy's wife collects them at night, and we wash them and we grade them and we sell them to the community and people at school, and that helps go towards like equipment that we need in the barn and field trips.
The lunch program, the Abbey is a big sponsor. They buy a lot of our ground beef for their stuff for lunch, so that's really cool that we can have lunch come from the barn over here. You know, that's really cool to me.
Food service director Tina Bushy buys as much as she can from the class.
We do. We use local as much as possible. That's our #1 goal. So we do get the local beef from the ag department here at MVU. We make homemade meatballs that we serve daily on the deli bar. And we do goulash, we do taco meat for nacho meals every day.
The money from meat and egg sales also pays for sweatshirts for the class, as well as their membership dues for Future Farmers of America. Each student becomes a member. For Messier, whether the students go on to a career in agriculture or not, he knows they leave his class with a full appreciation of what farmers do.
What keeps you coming back?
Well, I enjoy working with the students. I haven't run out of ideas.
Those ideas include a recently installed web camera that allows people from all over the world to tune in to the barn. Messier also hopes to expand the program to include fiber sheep to offer a new option for students.
It's a vocational program, but it's an avocational program.
It's a high school class that's trained generations of Vermont farmers.
I definitely like to run a farm. That's my dream. I just want to be at the farm all day long, like sun up to sundown with one day off. That's my dream.
In Swanton, I'm Rebecca Gollin with Across the Fence.
Our thanks to everyone involved at Missisquoi Valley Union High School. And once again, thank you for joining us Across the Fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.